All right, good evening, everyone. It's 7:30, and I'd like to call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Finance for December 16th, 2025. I see a couple people out there, but do we have any public comment this evening? Josh, did we receive any emails for public comment? Okay. We will move on to the first item on the agenda. We have 4 here, which does constitute a quorum. So we are proceeding. I think we may have one member joining late. First item on the agenda is a transfer. Discuss and take action on a request to transfer $7,448 from the Board of Finance Capital Reserve for replacement of a dynamic speed sign.
Yep, so I was contacted by Allie over at the PD. One of the speed signs that they have in front of the home school, that's part of kind of like a larger group of speed signs that they have through town. This one, the display has broken. So this is just utilizing the Board of Finance Reserve in the capital account to replace, or rather, replace the display, that part of the unit. There's still a stand and batteries and so on that exist and work fine. So this is kind of part of that. I believe these speed signs were either paid for via a grant or a donation. So there's some that you'll see in a 6-year capital plan in this upcoming budget season, and this is kind of just the first one to fall.
Do we know whether this was on warranty at all, or was it?
I don't know if it's on warranty.
Okay.
I think they're over 10 years old at this point,
Okay.
or something of that nature.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is why we have a contingency, in my opinion, so.
Yeah.
Any questions? Okay, can I have a motion to approve this transfer of?
It's on my street.
Can I have a motion to approve? Can I have a motion to approve a transfer of $7,448 from the Board of Finance Capital Reserve to replace a dynamic speed sign?
So moved.
Paul wants to be on record since it's his on street. Jenny seconds, all in favor? That's unanimous. Okay. Number 2, discuss and take action on a request to transfer $3,400 from the Board of Finance General Fund Contingency.
Correct.
For the payment of a Hearst invoice.
Right, so I know this kind of falls below the threshold that normally comes in front of the board, but since it's the town clerk's budget, which is relatively a small budget, they needed to pay for, I think, 1 or 2 large full-page ads during this code and ordinance revision for the harbor, and the invoice itself is something like $3,400 or so. They don't have any money within their department to kind of scrap together, and we didn't really want to handicap them midway through the year by pulling from every other one of their accounts. So this is just a transfer from the Board of Finance contingency to kind of pay for that invoice and make it whole.
Do they need a little money to be able to run ads for?
You know, their budget for, the adopted budget for this is $450, so they must be getting by with either smaller ads, I suppose, but this full-page ad really does cost a lot of money.
Sure.
Yeah.
I know the town is undertaking a review of things we might need review and advertising in the local papers, given their subscriber levels might be obsolete. There's a better way of getting the word out there necessarily, but I understand right now there isn't. This is what we have to do based on our code.
It's definitely a good way to find some savings if things only need to be advertised once, if at all,
right.
Or posted it in a different place, like you said.
John, we were just talking about the need to post an ordinance change on the newspapers, the local newspapers, and the utility of that given the technology world we live in and the subscriber levels. And as we review better ways to do local government, perhaps requiring advertising in local newspapers that have very little readership is something we should look at. But I understand that that's the way it is now, and therefore we have to pay for that notification.
20-second comment.
Sure.
So this has been raised with Westcott. I mean, you saw the bill for $3,400. That's just for 2 papers, 2 runs. You could imagine how much money the newspapers get from this kind of advertising. And so they're very resistant to any change in that model. What we're going to propose, I'm hoping, is that allow towns like ours to do electronic media postings, either through social media, town website, all that, and have that count as proper notification so that it takes effect immediately, and then still require us to pay for the newspapers. I get that it's a significant revenue stream for them, and in exchange for not disrupting that, again, I understand, allow us to use electronic means to get that out so that our work is not delayed by this sort of 2 rounds of notification. So if we can get that, I can tolerate the cost, because we're not going to change it anyway, given their lobbying strength. But if we can get this relaxation of the deadline, it would help us a lot.
Okay, great. Sounds like smart minds are focused on the same question.
On
So,
that.
any discussion? All right, can I have a motion to approve a transfer of $3,400? Hold on. From the Board of Finance General Fund Contingency Account to pay for this invoice. Jenny moves, Paul seconds, all in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. All right, third item is to discuss and take action on an appropriation of $27,000 for Great Island Survey. Josh, or we have a handful of people. Do you want to lead us on this, or I open it to the floor?
I think everyone else is stepping back, so I guess I'm the volunteer.
You notice that? Everybody stepped back. You were upstanding, weren't you? All right.
Good evening. My name is Craig Flaherty, here tonight as principal of Redness and Mead. Redness and Mead is, from time to time, a vendor to the town, and in this instance is the project surveyor on Great Island. So recently the administration let out an RFP for design services of a pared down early access phase. Upon receiving a copy of that, I noticed that they were suggesting that the teams that might be submitting a bid coordinate with the town surveyor on this particular project, being Redness and Mead, although there was no specific scope requested in the bid. So I put, you can file this under, what I thought was a good idea. I responded to the town and I said, hey, instead of, me giving this number to all the teams and then us waiting until you actually have a team and engage with them and then starting the survey, which could be March, at this point, why don't we get going on the survey now, and we might be able to save 2 months, because it's going to take about 2 months to do the survey. So instead of starting the process with a 2-month delay while we're waiting for this, we can actually do this in the meantime while those bids are coming in. So that's what I posed to town. They, at least the Board of Selectmen so far, has also agreed that it seems to be a good idea to do that, and that's what the request is for tonight. And this is basically a base survey underneath the area that would be designed on top of.
Right.
And there were no other, in all the consulting that we did during the first round of ideation, there was no other comparable surveys done.
So the surveys that we
totally
did,
different?
yeah, we have a full property survey. We have aerial topo from the sky. We have ground located wetlands and tidal wetlands, but we don't have, for instance, all the trees located. We don't have ground survey of the hardscape, which is like really critical. If you're tying in a walk or tying in a driveway, you got to do it at the location. So this was always anticipated. It was anticipated in the early access phase design services that were already considered and rejected. We were able to reduce the scope a little bit because the project has been pared down a little bit. So it's a lower price than it was the first time around. But it's needed no matter what you do,
No matter what
really.
you do, yeah.
Any other questions? The request caused me to look back, actually look forward in our package to see the line-by-line kind of snapshot of our spending of the 6.5 that we had approved. And I noticed there was about 700,000 that had been approved as part of that 6.5 that hasn't been used, including something called access to GI. So it just caused me to reach out to Jim and suggest whether if we are moving on where those funds are no longer needed and we're moving on to kind of the next phase of access, should we re-examine that authorization? And I think, we're not going to propose anything tonight, but I think we ought to think about whether things that had been anticipated that just weren't delayed are now being done by independent authorization are duplicative with some of the things that were anticipated, what is now, 3.5 years ago, or whatever it was. So, but personally, I don't, beyond that review, this is, I think, a necessary step to continue to bring access to the island. Okay.
So just to be clear, the survey will stand alone from the RFP, like they're not?
Correct.
Okay.
And there'll be a clarification issued with the RFP that should this look like it's moving forward, that this will be delivered to the successful team by the town.
So is this survey going to be used for the responders to look at, like,
No, basically they'll have to respond without this. This takes 8 weeks, and we still have another round of approval to go. So,
Right. Okay.
But construction will have to respond to the survey.
Yes, the design. Yeah, once they start their
Exactly.
design, the
Yeah.
first thing they're going to
Yes.
ask for is like, where's the accurate survey?
Right.
Yeah.
And that
Right.
we want to be in a position to hand that over
And we own
when
that.
they're ready to start the design, and the town will own it. Yeah.
And we
Right.
yeah.
Great.
I assume over the long run, I don't know if these things expire, but if we have to consider having a survey for the entire property at some point, that's not what this is, right?
No, this is only 17 acres generally west of the polo field.
And is there any economy of scale or reason to discuss having broader scope on the survey just to get it done now?
Another way of asking that is, why is it limited to those 17 acres?
Well, maybe these guys can answer, but my assessment is that they're trying to come back to you with a very focused plan to get public access to the island. So
Okay.
wherever possible, they're trying to dial in that focus.
So this is necessary,
That's fair to say.
but not sufficient in the long run, but necessary now. It's kind of a way to think about it?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but we chose a very clear division line between the area that we're doing versus the area that we're not doing, so it's going to be easy to go out and just add scope later
Right.
if need be.
Got it. Okay. All right. All right, can I have a motion to approve an appropriation of $27,000 to fund a Great Island survey? Jane moves, Paul seconds, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. You're welcome to stay. All right, next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the November 18th regular meeting.
Financial update.
No, well,
Yeah, we don't.
did I skip that?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I skipped that. Yeah, no, we do want the financial report, sorry.
It's not a very interesting one, but, so this is financial activities through the end of November. It's kind of where you would expect it to be. That's pretty much the story of this right now. July collections for tax collections have all come in. We're starting to see collections, early collections for January's round trickle in through December, but that's obviously not reflected in this November report. Investment income we're seeing at about 49% of what was budgeted, about 370,000 per month is our run rate, even though that's going to slowly decline kind of as the year goes on. We're slowly seeing kind of grant revenue come in. Town clerk, we saw that kind of that jump with one large transaction for conveyance fees, and building permits still spilling over from last year with that some of the redevelopment costs there that we had expected last year. There aren't really any major things happening on the revenue side. If anyone has any questions on those.
Is there any, are property tax collections coming in as or better than expected, or slower than expected?
No, the sense I've gotten is they're pretty much as expected, which is to say a very high collection rate.
Okay.
I mean, you can kind of see the repercussions of that in the other taxes line, which is kind of falling behind because within that is partly interest and prior year tax collections, and, you know, if you have such a high collection rate every year, the prior year amount to be collected is really rather low. On the expenditure side, we would expect to be at about 42.5%. We're at 41.5% expended, so we're pretty much right on the money. You've kind of had your eyes on the, you know, small overages that we've had, like the town clerk here, or the savings we've had with a couple positions in the PDs unfilled, but I think those are being filled shortly. But other than that, we're kind of just running along.
Can we go back to that other taxes line?
Sure.
Because I don't think there's nothing unusual about this tax cycle than there has been over the average of the last 5 years, but we've only collected 128 where we normally would have collected close to 360. So if it's, yes, it could be prior years or past dues, but we're way off where we normally are at this time in the year.
We are. I could see I'll look into the exact line.
Do you mind doing that? Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Sorry.
No. Moving on, we have seen about half of the intergovernmental revenue come in as we'd expect. They kind of trickle in at various times throughout the year. Updated are the kind of financials for the various funds. I know I said this last month, but I will have the updated fund balances, the audited fund balance for FY25 put at the bottom of each of these funds for the next meeting. But there isn't anything kind of unexpected here at the moment.
I've got a question about the fund balance. You have $2 million at the end of 24.
Which fund
The
balance?
sewer funds.
The sewer fund.
Sewer fund, thank you.
You know, it shows a fund balance of about $2 million. Is that reasonable, or would that be used for capital expenditures or are we charging too much for sewer?
No, yeah, I'd have to see exactly at what point that 2 million kind of was measured.
Okay.
There are transfers that take place from this operating account to the sewer capital accounts.
Okay.
And is that accurate, that footnote? Is that a June 30, 24 audit, or was that a 25 audit?
Oh, that is those. So those are the audited 24 numbers, and so I'm going to update those
Okay,
next
because
month.
we're still working on the 25 audit.
So the 25 audit just wrapped up
Just
basically.
wrapped up.
So I'll have a good
That'll be
number
an
for
update.
that.
Okay. Yep.
And
Of
that'll see
course.
what that's
Yep.
at. Moving along, the recreation fund is kind of where we would expect, 41% through the year, and we're at 42.5% on the revenue side.
Yep.
I have updated the active bonded projects list with kind of the most recent additions. The let's see, which are the new ones? The 37 West and Pear Tree are both on there. Hopefully, Oxbridge will be coming off there soon. We're kind of getting together the Board of Ed is getting together some of the final paperwork to be submitted for reimbursement, and then that'll kind of help us determine how much can get wiped out from here, and then we can kind of add it to the closed list.
Josh, the Henley and Holmes numbers on the top of the page, or the top of those boxes, are identical. Is that a typo?
That may be a typo.
Must be a typo, because we couldn't have
Oh, that's no
Holmes and
good.
Henley are the
Holmes
same.
and Henley. It's one of them looks like it was just a duplicate of the other. Let's clear that
Good
up.
catch, yeah.
Everything below that first line looks Or
No. it's-
total expenditures looks different. From the
Yeah.
total expenditures line down looks
Yeah.
I think you
accurate, but
Yeah,
above
it's
that
it's a
looks-
formula error
it-
that must be
yeah.
pulling the same accounts.
Yeah.
I think you just allocated the bond proceeds.
All right.
Yeah. Alright, it's annoying. Alright, an easy enough fix.
Yep.
On to kind of the contingencies and fund balances. These are just the ones that you voted on recently. Nothing really new about this.
Jim and Josh did a lot of work on fund balance. He actually wanted to kick that conversation off tonight, and I said, not without you here. So we had talked about at the last meeting about developing a policy on when to use unassigned fund balance to fund capital. Just having kind of a policy around it rather than kind of doing it ad hoc. So that's underway.
So this is the one updated FY25 audited fund balance of 34.74 on the contingency and fund balance at the bottom there.
Mhm.
So that is kind of like the good number that we're at right now.
Got it.
Moving on to Great Island, I'd actually spoken to, so the third of the reports, the one with kind of all the detail and breakdown, the single page, yeah. That's actually produced by Ed, and I get it every month.
Page.
I think
Page.
it's this one right here, the page
Page
23.
23.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what I was referring to, because when I saw the 27,000, I went to this slide,
Yeah.
and if you look 2/3 of the way down the page.
And so I spoke to him briefly today about kind of taking, maybe for next month or in the coming months. I mean, we can start next month, but maybe taking a look at which lines he would really anticipate not spending fully. I don't want to, put any numbers in his mouth, but there are some lines, especially around remediation, that he's not anticipating spending the entirety of what was expected. There's about 1.7 million there, and I don't think he plans on coming close to that number. I would have to check, but I believe we haven't bonded. I know we haven't bonded for all of Great Island yet, since 49 million or so are in a ban right now. So when we're anticipating to bond for it next year, I guess if we take a closer look at some of these expenditures and decide we may not need to issue for as high of an amount, because we just don't need that revenue to cover it.
My recollection is we bonded the purchase price plus the 6.5 and rescinded the balance.
Is that what it
Right,
was?
that's what we
And
did.
so the
Okay.
6.5 has been bonded.
Okay.
The question is, as you heard me say earlier, because when I saw the 27, I was like, I'm surprised that's not in the 6.5. So I looked at this slide and said, well, it looks like it was anticipated, but we're adding another 27, so that prompted the conversation. And Jim sent a note saying, let's examine this. And if the 6.5 is actually going to be 4.8, then let's make that adjustment, go forward from
Yeah,
there.
for sure.
So-
I mean, then we'll just have bond
And
funds that we can
again,
transfer.
we're not looking to kind of retrade what the agreement was a couple years ago when we approved the 6.5, but let's just make sure that that's still a good number.
Yeah, was there a line item in here for survey, really?
Well, it's
just
consultant
the
fees for planning and zoning for
consultant
Access GI, so I was like,
450, right?
I don't know.
I don't know
Yeah.
if
But that
that's-
whole line item there for Access GI totals 700,000, over 700,000, none of it has been spent, and we're in the access phase.
Yes,
So you'd think we'd be exhausting these accounts before we'd be adding on to them.
Can we, look from an actual boots on the ground perspective, use these dollars? We can't, right? We're gonna have to have unused.
So I don't know
funds.
exactly how much of it is spoken for in terms of, Ed's projects that he has, down the line. So it would definitely have to be a conversation with him.
I think this is just reconciling where we are today versus where we thought we would be 2
Yeah.
years ago when we approved this, and making any necessary adjustments.
Yeah, for sure.
And there may be none, but let's just examine it.
so to be clear, we have bonded the 6.
I think we bonded the 85 purchase price plus the 6.5,
Sounds right.
and
So
yes.
if we bonded,
So we definitely didn't bond the whole purchase price because we issued a ban.
No, I mean, we
Yeah.
authorized
But, yeah.
them, we authorized.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Yeah, I'm talking about bonds and notes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I'm not saying we authorize the bonds.
Right.
We might have authorized on day one, when we authorized the purchase, basically, whether it could be bonds or notes.
Yeah. When we're looking at how much can be either transferred or not bonded, we'll see at that point.
So there's unspent proceeds sitting in an account,
That's what
waiting.
That's,
So-
my belief is, yes.
All right, so you could theoretically, if you're not gonna use it all, you would probably need to use that towards as a source of funds on the ban roll to buy, right? Could you do that?
I'm not sure if you would do that. That might be one way of doing it. You might just kind of transfer it to another authorized but unissued project.
Or you could reduce
Possibly.
the debt that we're about to.
I mean, possibly, yeah.
So,
Yeah, if you go back up to page 16, the purchase of Great Island, we appropriated 91.8 million
yeah,
for bond proceeds, which was the purchase price plus this additional 6.5. Purchase price plus related expenses plus the 6.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not
Yep.
to mention, a lot of what we've been talking about as far as early access goes should be embedded here with parking for gravel and.
That was what led to my question. I would have thought this survey would have already been anticipated.
in that.
Yeah,
sense,
and so
yeah.
it's
We'll clean it up.
27,000, it's fine, but we should look at it.
But I also wonder, like, are we spending the 150 on gravel parking and the 250 on paved parking and 150 on driveway paving?
So.
Or is that gonna be unused and we're putting that towards
So-
whatever this RFP is?
That's what-
back?
So
We're
that's
talking
what,
about
yeah,
it.
so hopefully next month I'll have at least some kind of notes on what's anticipated, what's likely not to be anticipated, for those kind
Right,
of
because there's, of the 6.5, 2 point, do I have that right?
3.9
No, only-
unspent.
2 6 has been spent,
Unspent.
9 has been unspent, yes. So at any rate, it's under examination.
Mhm.
Excellent.
ARPA funds are winding down. A few of the projects I know that are still to be completed, I know one of which, that vault security at the town clerk has been completed, it's just accounting. We need to transfer over kind of the AP into that PO that was put through. Hit a different account, a DPW account. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. All right, now we can move on to the minutes.
I just noticed one thing.
There is one thing in the minutes.
I'm not the vice chairman.
Oh, no.
We have dueling vice
It's
chairman.
always, no.
Secretary.
Where is that?
Top of the fifth page, like the third bullet.
Third.
Where's that?
It's
The third bullet?
the third,
Here,
it's the third item,
Oh, yeah, yep.
and then it's,
I appreciate your confidence in me though, Josh.
You got
very
this.
good, Josh.
That's for vice chairman, yeah, copy and paste ruins the day.
there you go.
Alright.
Okay, with that change, can I have a motion to approve the minutes for the November 18th regular meeting? Jenny, second. Taylor, all in favor? Unanimous. Okay. Committee reports. Rob's not here, so that will,
I know HHR is meeting tomorrow, I believe.
okay. Jenny, you have anything?
Don't.
Paul?
No, not until January.
Taylor?
Nope.
And I just reported out this, what we're looking at on the unassigned fund balance. So, nothing from the chairman's report. Anything else anyone wants to bring up? Okay.
I'd say, just to bring it
Go
up.
ahead.
So we're kind of like kicking off budget season in the next couple weeks or months. And since we are making the switch off of OpenGov into just utilizing the system we have, Munis, and kind of going back into Excel a little bit more so than we had before, I'd love any inputs from the board in terms of If they have any kind of like wish list of breakdown, summaries, charts, graphs, or anything like that, that I can kind of like add into what we already have. Right now, we're kind of working on getting it all just automatically refreshed and tied into our financial software, so every night it just kind of updates as we review and update. So anything we can build out now would be great. So if you have
Are we
it.
not using OpenGov?
No,
going forward?
Not for budget purposes. For permitting, we are, yeah.
So we're gonna learn a different budgeting process this year?
There will be a new process, I promise.
So we don't know what to so without knowing what's in front of us, it's gonna be hard to give you that direction until we're kind of in the middle of it.
So there won't be a website or there may be a portal.
There's not gonna be a platform.
There won't be a platform to go through. There'll be a budget document, likely a PDF, and also an interactive Excel file that'll have all of the kind of information.
And so like the department head PDFs, will they be readily available like they always have? It's just
Yeah, they should
a
be,
different way to navigate to get them.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Got it. All right. Well, I would say stay tuned on that.
Yeah, for sure.
And be ready in February or March when we're actually into the middle of it and like can't find our way.
I promise it'll hopefully be easier, because I had trouble with OpenGov a little bit, and
I had a
this-
lot of trouble with it.
Yeah.
Well, we all did, but with those of us that are like 5 or 6 years into it, we finally
Now we
I think
know,
we
right?
feel
Now
like
we know
we know how to
Spend
navigate.
that time.
Yeah, that's fine. If we're evolving, that's a good thing. So
Yeah.
At any rate, all right. Duly noted, but stay tuned.
I know from the department head point of view standpoint, their tasks of inputting the budget has gone a lot easier.
Good.
A lot of them are very used to using Munis, so they're pretty comfortable with it, and it's very kind of straightforward, user-friendly, and it still allows for really good itemization and justification.
But I suppose
So,
going back to the 3-ring binder budget book, like we get from the from our.
I mean, if you
friends
want
at
a
the school
printed
board.
copy, I normally rely on people that have PDFs, but I do like having a printed copy of it as well.
Let's see what it looks like. And
Yeah.
we'll go from there. All right.
Having it all in a spreadsheet was always my dream on the education side, so it's
Mhm.
great if you have it.
Yeah, so that's
Um,
kind of the goal.
I mean, it's almost like I want to run it through AI and look at, what were the biggest changes versus budget last year? What's the biggest change year over year? Just
Yeah.
like, but above a certain threshold, like,
Yeah.
give me the call outs, but.
If you have any ideas, I'm happy to look at it. I've relied very heavily on AI to help teach me how to run certain Power Query, just processes to get it into a really solid file that's super interactive and super usable. So, any
Use
additions?
Claude.
What's that?
Use Claude for that.
Yeah.
They've gotten it's gotten really good.
I've been relying on Gemini because ChatGPT is
ChatGPT is no good.
Not very good.
But Claude's, their spreadsheet generation with the formulas and all that has
Okay.
gotten really
Alright,
good.
cool,
Yeah.
for sure.
All right, can I have a motion to adjourn? Jenny, second. Paul, all in favor? We're adjourning. Merry Christmas, happy holidays.